Hi guys, welcome to Excited for a Journey. My name is Jasmine and I love to find ways how to save. And one of those passions, actually one of my new journeys is travel journey, and we have been able to travel for almost free. And I say almost free because there are sometimes expenses that you don't expect and other expenses that you can't really get away from, like meals and transportations and things like that. And that's what this video is about. This is another fee that we were not expecting, because it was a new rule, I believe, that happened last year about checking baggage. And those checking bags, usually, especially when you was traveling internationally, they were included. We have traveled a few times to Europe. Last year was twice we went to Europe, and we never really had to pay for our bags because it was already included in the ticket. But those rules have changed, and there's so many things that you don't want to be surprised, and it could add up. And we had a few layovers, and we also on our last trip in July we went to different cities, and we used the plane, and it could have been a little bit more expensive. But here I am about to tell you a little bit of what happened, and also tips how to avoid those check-in fees. You are allowed 2 carry-ons. That could be a purse, that could be a laptop bag, and a carry-on bag. But just always verify that the airline that you're traveling with, what are the rules for your carry-on items. And also always follow the TCA, because that's the reason why I didn't like taking carry-ons, because there are certain items that I just want to take my regular size, and I don't want that to be thrown away because it does pass the 3.4 ounce to be approved by the TSA if you're putting it in the carry-on. So just make sure that you check on that. Also, something else to know is check your personal items requirements. Most airlines are checking the weight of both items. Both items that I mentioned that are allowed and they're free as a carry-on, some airlines are checking it. This happened to us twice in Europe. One of them was in the France airport, and I believe the other one was in London. And what they did was, let's say you have a backpack and you have a luggage as a carry-on, one of those that is the right size. So what they did was they took that carry-on with the backpack, they put it in the scale, both of them together, and it needed to have a specific weight combined. So they will put it in a scale, and the limit was supposed to be 23 kilograms. If they pass the limit, then what happened was one of those pieces of luggage were sent as luggage. That means you will have to send it because they exceeded the weight amount. So there's these things, they didn't happen in certain airports, but they did. So sometimes you may have surprises, and you want to avoid those carry-on fees. Just make sure that you know that there are certain things are happening, and they're still trying to adapt since it is a pretty new rule. Checking luggage fee, it does vary. We actually thought international travel was exempt with this new charge, but once we started to check in and read, we had to pay for all check-in bags. We knew we were in trouble since we had a few flights, like I mentioned. So if you plan ahead, there will be some ways you can avoid this fee altogether, and I'm going to share those tips on this video. Remember that some airlines, they all going to vary by prices. Let's say you have 2 check-in bags, the second one's going to be another price, and each airline has a different price. So make sure you do check the airlines for the prices, and it could go up to $60 for the first bag alone. Round-trip luggage fee is not covered, so even though you purchase a round-trip ticket, which we did, every check-in bag is covered individually. So once you pay that amount, once you return, if you have a round-trip ticket, you do have to pay again for that check-in luggage. Layover might not be covered. Because it's a new rule, I understand that one person working in one airline might tell you one thing, while the next one in the counter might tell you something totally different. That was our case. We were in Venice, and the counter was telling me, I said, well, we have a layover. If we put this check-in bag and we remove the bag, since we have to, the layover is many hours, we're going to check in a hotel, do we have to pay? And the lady said, yeah. But the person next to us asked the same question, and he said, no, it will be covered. Just make sure that you show them your boarding ticket that it's a layover. So the same airline was giving two different information, and so that's what I'm saying. The layover might not be covered, because once we had the layover, they were charging one of the person in our group, one of the people that were in our group, to check in that bag as well, even though they show that boarding pass. So they're changing. Once you go to the other airport, they may say something different. So just know that even in the layover, it may not be covered. It's something that but in some cases it might be. So just so you don't be surprised, sometimes they have the rules, but like I mentioned, these rules are kind of new, and the staff might be saying different information. You go to another airport, might say something else. So just be in the lookout that it might not be covered. So what is the cost of check-in bags? For domestic flights, the most known airlines will start around $30 for a domestic flight for the first bag, an additional $40 for the second bag, and $150 for the third bag. But keep in mind, the bag should not weigh more than 50 pounds. So that's just the standard prices for domestic flights. Airline with free check-in bags. Which airline is offering that? The only one I've seen so far, and I'm going to let you know, is Southwest. Airlines continue to offer up to 2 free check-in bags on each flight. So that is a lot of savings right there, especially if you are, we were traveling for many days, for 2 weeks and a half. So we wanted to take a regular bag, a check-in bag, and that became a little expensive. So it's good to know check-in baggages and how you could avoid them, which that's what I'm going to be talking about, how you could avoid those fees. But know that these are some new rules, and I don't want you to feel like, oh my god, I could have avoided all this if I knew what was going on. So one way you could avoid check-in bag fees is avoid check-in bags. That's what we did. As soon as we heard of this news, actually the rules came out a little after we already had booked our trip. So what we did was we then changed our luggage to a standard size check-in, not check-in bags, but carry-on bags. And then we did bring a check-in bag. But if you could avoid it, you could have a backpack and a carry-on bag that is the right size for the airlines you're traveling, and you make sure that combined they're not extremely, doesn't pass the weight limit that is provided by and requested by that airline. Then that is a good way to go. You will have your check bag, which is your book bag, and a carry-on. That's another way. So that way you can avoid that fee altogether, just making sure that it doesn't pass the weight, and you don't have to check in any bags. Second thing that you could do is buy a baggage scale. It does look a little big, and you're gonna see the picture, but it's one that we take in our trip, and it doesn't weigh at all. It doesn't take any space. It's not it's pretty easy, and it's so worth it because you don't want to be surprised in the airport, and it doesn't cost a lot. So what we did was we take that with us every time, and every time we weighed our baggage, and we usually check on the scale for other people that are with us. You just put it on the luggage, and it will tell you exactly how much it weighs. So that's one way for you to know if you are doing a luggage, and usually some people do pass the 50 pounds. If you are borderline there, you want to make sure that you are not passing that limit. A baggage scale is key. Tip number 3, use reward points to pay for the luggage. So that is another tip that you could use. We noticed when we were in the line, and it was funny how when we were on the line to check in, get our boarding passes, when we asked if we could use points, they let us know we could use points in the counter. But while we were in the line, you're able to log in the app for that airline, and we were able to use our points to pay for the luggage. So if you have any points, and it wasn't that many points that you needed, you could use your reward points for that airline if it applies. That means if it's an option that they're giving for that airline, and you could use it to pay for your luggage. That means your check-in bag. Another tip is sign up with airline bonus credit card. This is key. If you have a sign up bonus with certain credit cards and you're flying with that airline, that means that your bag is waived, meaning that you don't have to pay for it. So having one of those sign-ups bonuses credit card, for example, if you're traveling with American Airlines and you have a card for American Airlines, a bonus credit card, you have an advantage, and you won't have to pay for any of your luggage check-ins. So that is really a huge bonus. So just sign up with airline. Remember, it has to be airline bonus credit cards. Another tip that I want to share with you how you could avoid these fees is sign up with elite bonus credit cards. Let's say you don't want to sign up with the specific airlines, because let's say you're traveling with British Airways, but you usually don't travel with that airline, and you don't want to have and earn points for that because maybe it was just a one time every so often. Then another tip would be sign up with an elite bonus credit card. And elite bonus credit cards are the ones that it's an elite. It has many bonuses, many perks, but the annual fee is $450, and one of those perks usually is travel credit. And that means that if you had to pay for something in flight, for a travel, a ticket, or for even the luggage, it's going to give you $200 for you to as a credit. So what you could do is use that credit card to pay for the luggage, and it should subtract that amount from your elite bonus credit card. Here is another tip, and this is something that we were checking when we were in the counter in case, because it is interesting to check. You don't lose anything by checking. That will be upgrade your travel seat. Sometimes upgrading your seat from economy to premium economy might have you skip on this tip. In some cases, you might feel like, why would I want to do that? I mean, I don't want to pay more. It might be a great option. On our last trip, as we were checking in on the airline counter, we knew our luggage total will be $50 for each check-in bag. Right then, we checked how much it would be to upgrade our seat to premium economy. The amount was $150 for each person, but the upgrade included up to 2 free bags. The employee from this airline let us know that it's always good to check, because the difference in some cases may be less than the cost of the bag. Even though we didn't upgrade the premium economy, but it's a tip we will consider in the future. So that is a huge tip. And she even let us know, the employee let us know, that sometimes it's even less than the cost of the luggage. So you never know, you might have a better seat, and it already includes the check-in bag. Another tip I want to share with you how you could avoid the fees is seal bag for more room. Since we knew that we had to change my bag to a check-in, not from a check-in bag to a carry-on bag, we purchased a seal bag to include more room. The one that we purchased was about, I think, $8, and it brought 2. It was a medium size, and I think it holds up to 4 to 6 sweaters. It was very easy to do. You don't need a vacuum. You just follow the steps, very simple, and it did hold a lot of my clothes in place, and it stays sealed. So that way you put a lot of clothes in these 2 medium bags, or any size you wish to purchase, and it gave me so much space in my bag, and it didn't make it even heavier. So that is another tip that you could have, not just on your carry-on bag, but also if you're taking a book bag. That's something else that you could consider, purchasing a seal bag. So these are all my tips that I have if you're traveling, and these are things for you to know about luggage fees and tips how to avoid the check-in fees. This is like I said, fairly new, and if we would have taken advantage of some of these tips that I'm including here, it would have made our trip a lot smoother. But some we were a little bit surprised about, some we couldn't change since our trip was really long. But I really wanted to do this video so you could plan ahead and apply these tips that maybe you might be able to save altogether and not pay for any luggages no matter where you're traveling. So I hope this video was very helpful. I hope you're able to use these tips, and if you have any other tips, you can leave them in the comment section. So thank you so much for watching. Until the next video, bye.